you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, but then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and everything changed. Now, we're watching this incredible series for the second time, paying attention to all the things we didn't know or notice the first time around.
And we're still going to be searching for those sci-fi messages that we find in this series. You know, those things that hold up a mirror to society, give us hope that things can be better in the future, or just tell us how to be better human beings to one another, or are just cool messages. And we're going to be asking what this episode was trying to tell us. Specifically, we're going to ask JMS what this episode was trying to tell us. Just as Jeff said, if you guys want to send in your own comment, you can do it on our podcast notes. You can also email us. You can, I don't know, Jeff, you could send up a signal to a satellite somewhere. We'll get it somehow.
Contact form on our website.
Yeah,
we're on Instagram now. We're on, what's the other, Blue Sky now.
Yeah.
There's still a Twitter.
All the socials, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still called Twitter for us. So anyway. Hey, Jeff, you know what?
What's that?
You know what we love?
What?
There's a few things that we love here. One of those things, though, is our amazing Patreon folks.
We do.
Over on Patreon, though, there is a special tier called our Council Chambers. You might figure out where that one came from. Our Council Chambers folks are joining us live for this recording.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys ever want to come in and just a little shameless plug, if you guys want to come join us for our live recordings, so who knows, we may pull in a comment or two from them over the course of the show, possibly, maybe. We make no promises, but
we'll see.
It's there. So hello to our Council Chambers folks. You guys are awesome. And so we love you guys. You're amazing. Another thing we love, Jeff, our games.
We do love our games.
Our games are changing for this show now, though. We had a certain set of games in the first one. Now it's a new show, new season. But one of those games that we loved the most is one of the things we got the most emails about was our predictions.
That's right.
Unfortunately, we can't do that anymore because we know we can't go back and see, like, yeah, we can't predict things anymore. So what we can do, though, is we can try to remember what we thought the episode might be about, or just overall impressions of the episode as well. Jeff, what do you remember about Midnight on the Firing Line?
You know, I was looking back at my notes for that, and again, I feel like we're just shamelessly plugging our Patreon, but you can access our notes, our old notes from the first time.
Yeah, right.
Over there. It's a thing, but which is good because that's where I had to go to read them. But I was very curious still. Like I was very trying to be open-minded. I felt that the characters still weren't fully fleshed out in a way that made sense to me yet, and was still just kind of looking for that thing to like grasp onto as like, yes, I get this show. Mm-hmm. And we're going to move forward from, our notes evolved over time. I look forward to that when I can read them when they make more sense. But my impression from my notes was that I enjoyed it, but still wasn't fully in on Babylon 5. Do you remember what you thought?
Yeah, I do remember not having any clue what it was going into it, coming off the Gathering. But I remember the overall plot. A Centauri planet is randomly attacked, and it's Londo and Jakar blaming each other basically, and I think like they go on trial or something. I remember my overall impression of this episode though was this is a weird first episode. Like this felt like should have been like a mid-season, like we should have been some build up towards this. We should have known these characters before getting to this moment. I do remember having that thought. I also remember though, just as a general impression, there was a lot of changes from the Gathering to this one. Makeup, lighting, colors. It's like they had money now to do stuff. And I remember those changes were generally very positive.
Agreed. Yeah.
As we went through. So yeah, those were my memories, and I still remember going, I don't know what this was about. So
yeah. Well, I'm curious to see how we come out of this one, knowing that we felt that way watching it last time. So That's what we're going to do right now, actually, Brent, is we're going to go watch the episode. If you're not familiar with what we've been doing here in Babylon 5 or our other podcast, Stargate SG-1 for the first time, we're literally going to watch the episode right now together. If you are with us on YouTube, you're going to see like the reaction video kind of cut up and all that stuff to be YouTube friendly. If you want to see the full unedited version of our reaction, you can head over to our Patreon page, which we've been talking about quite a bit, patreon.com/Babylon5 first, the number 5. And the word first.
And if you're listening to the audio, like on a podcasting app or Audible or something of that nature, we're going to meet you over there on the other side where we're going to share our thoughts about the messages that we uncover as we go through this episode for the second time. Jeff, real quick, have you or have you not watched this episode since our first viewing 2.5 years ago?
Haven't watched it once since then.
Okay. True. Me too. So, let's go do it, Jeff.
I'm excited.
All right, here we go. Ragesh 3.
The music hadn't quite found its
Watch Commander Isla reporting for duty.
Dude, those effects look so good. That remaster.
Wait, picking up disturbance.
But that, dude, check the Centauri hair.
Yeah,
It's
they
all
got
like
the big-
like spiny. No, it's like
forming in sector
it's not
3.
full at all.
Great.
I mean, like it's full up. There's no like style. It's just quick.
Notify Centauri Prime. Tell them we're under attack. Tell them it's the...
Okay, would you have noticed that? Did you notice that was a Narn ship?
Oh no!
I did not. No, like even now, knowing it, I still don't know that that's a Narn ship.
No, could barely tell.
Mr. Garibaldi.
I love it.
Oh, boy.
Feels so good to hear that.
All I'm asking is that you trust me.
Trust you. Londo, my brain will be 5 days dead before I ever trust a Centauri. The first time we met you people, the first time we met any other civilization, you told us you practically ran the entire galaxy.
Pause. Does Garibaldi ever come to trust a Centauri?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
I was
think
just
so. I'm
thinking the
sitting
same.
there, I was like, did he actually get to a spot where he trusted at least Londo or somebody? And I don't think he really ever did. Yeah.
No, not ever.
Yeah.
In this piece here, you told us you practically ran the whole galaxy.
Empire. Come on, public relations.
Only that hasn't been true for almost 100 years.
Ambassador.
Oh,
Mr. Garibaldi,
wow.
have you met my diplomatic staff just arrived from the home world?
Our colony, Ragesh 3, our agricultural
hair.
colony.
Yes, I know what it is.
I just
What
love
about-
Veer so
It's
much.
under attack. Fighters, wave after
Look at
wave
his teeth.
after wave.
Who launched the attack?
Yeah.
No one.
And they're
knows.
sticking to the
Like,
fang thing.
like you could see Steven first like trying to talk around the mouthpiece.
You
know?
I just want to point out for posterity's sake that we just saw 2 future emperors of the Centauri Empire.
We did.
Like
Did.
literally like bickering in the outside the Zocalo around, well, we're a big deal. We used to be a big deal and we're blah blah blah. And hey, our exposition colony just got attacked. Those 2 dudes.
Yeah, see, I don't like. I noticed the symbol on the ship now. Even now I wouldn't look at that and go, "That's Narn." Like I know they're Narns because I do remember the end of this episode. But
Yeah, at this point,
was a dream given form.
nothing. Oh,
we don't say "dream given form" after the season 1 intro, do they?
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Home away from home. The name of the place is Babylon 5.
For the second time. Ben over in our chat says that scene we just watched, it's funny, but establishes the Centauri as an empire past its prime, which Londo is seeking to bring back. It's like,
Right. This is a very boring intro piece right here. Like, shouldn't there be a ship flying over it every?
something.
So sorry, didn't mean to go there. It was a joke, folks. Chill, it's okay.
I just heard.
Yes, you have my sincerest condolences for your losses.
You know nothing about this attack, Shakar?
I'm as astonished as you are.
Can you tell us something about the colony?
Jakar's just lying through his teeth right now.
It's
Isn't
an
he?
agricultural base, strictly a civilian operation.
Then we'll call an emergency session of the Council and the League of Non-Aligned Worlds. We'll do whatever we can to help.
They are really squeezing the exposition in. Like, it fits well, but
Well, they have to because they got it. Like it's been a year since the pilot.
Picking up a long
Like, they
range
gotta
distress signal from a ship
redo
in the
some of
secondary
that.
jump point.
Commander Ivanova.
Yes.
Ivanova.
She's a constant
Natalia
through
Winters,
this season.
Oh, is she?
commercial telepaths. No, I just...
Then you'll excuse me, but I'm in the middle of 15 things, all of them annoying. Thank you for coming by.
Oh, that's a great line.
That lady is going to break that other lady's heart. Think about it. That was their first like interaction.
Dude, I'm looking at her right now as evil Talia.
Exactly.
Like she's a sleeper agent, right?
Not the Minbari. It's not their way. They're too honorable to pull something like this.
Are they, though?
I'm surprised you described it.
No, they're not.
After all, you fought them during the war.
I've never seen the Minbari fight dishonorably.
So I'm going to come out right from go and say it. You and I were pretty harsh on Sinclair as a character, and then Michael O'Hare as an actor, and we learned and dialed back the O'Hare stuff. But I almost fell asleep already during this.
Listening to him?
Yeah, like this is just boring, and it's not even it's Sinclair. The way Sinclair is showing up here, it's just like, get to the point, dude.
Mm-hmm. They'd never pull a sneak attack.
Perhaps. Any word yet on the election?
That's going to become important.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I do not like Santiago.
His chin, right?
I've always thought that a leader should have a strong chin. He has no chin, and his vice president has several. This, to me, is not a good combination.
It is not a good combination.
I like how she pulled her shirt down, like,
right?
You know?
Ambassador, enhance.
Enhance. Enhance.
That is a Narn heavy fighter. Bastard Jakar. He said he knew nothing of this. Jakar!
Jakar!
I like how he says it with that soft G. Jakar. Not Jakar, but Jakar.
Would you like some spoo? It's quite fresh this week.
Spoo. We get spoo this early.
But
wow.
Even here, quite fresh. Quite fresh, because that's how the Narn
We'll
like it.
strike back, and we'll strike back hard.
Listen to me, Ambassador. Your time is come and gone. It's our turn now.
Dude.
Juxtapose that with "We Are One."
No, I mean, but again, you at this point we have to look at these guys through the season 5 and beyond characters that they come to know, and watching him right now and just like, wow, this is so disparate from the Jakar that we just left. You know,
I totally get it though. Like he has that vim and vigor and anger of a younger person than we see in season 5, but also just that righteous hatred for what the Centauri did to them. And I think what's interesting me watching this now compared to before, like when we watched this the first time, I just remember being like, oh, this guy, bad guy, villain, evil, horrible. Right now I'm just like, yeah, totally makes sense that you made that. So I get it.
Well, no, because here's you and I, like what I understand with this right now is I understand what the Centauri did to the Narn.
Yeah.
I see Jakar's point right now. I'm kind of like, he's loving it. He's eating this up. He thinks this is a fair turn.
Yeah.
And he's kind of not wrong. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's never the thing to do, right? What was it we heard on something we watched recently? More death never, helps anything, but still, like they got nothing else.
Yeah. But I mean, there's no way we knew that the first time around.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, but I'm sitting here going, Jakar's not entirely wrong.
Exactly. Like I almost have more sympathy for Jakar than Londo in this.
I have almost no sympathy for Londo right now.
Same.
Like I really for the Centauri, like outside of it's an agricultural and innocent civilians and stuff. You shouldn't do one. You don't repay kind for kind. Like at least you shouldn't. But that's what they're doing, and I kind of get it. I'm not saying he should have done it, but I understand.
But I get it. I get it.
I get it.
I love Londo's growl too. As you're still like figuring out, how do we present our races here?
He's got that gray coming in.
I apologize for the incident with Jakar, Commander. We know how, and sometimes even when.
I remember this
are
scene,
going
Jeff.
to die.
Yeah.
Comes in a dream, huh?
No, but I remember what I get out of this. Do you know what we get out of this?
Yeah, we get War Without End here.
Well, no, but do you know the specific bit of information that we get out of this outside of the choking each other out?
They know their death. They see their death.
More than that. What? More than that. 20 years.
We got the 20 years. That's
we get
right.
20 years right here. Right here. I remember, Jeff, you can go check my reaction video. When Lorien first told Sheridan he's going to have about 20 years, I was like, immediately, I was like, that's how long Londo said he had. Like, oh, here we go.
Man, it's 20 years from now, and I am dying.
Becky makes a great point here. Sorry, I have to pause this. Becky makes a great point. She says, I do love that on the first watch, you only see Jakar's rage, but on second watch, you see his pain too.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. So good, Becky. So good.
Around someone's throat. The first time I saw Jakar.
It's amazing to know that Londo's like in context, it's do this.
Will happen.
Like it's a favor.
20 years from now, we will die with our hands around each other's throats. 20 years from now, one of us will be wiser.
Although he does say that, Sinclair, it's 20 years long enough for you to come to an understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, though. Peter Jurasek is acting his ass off right now. Like,
all of
this is the Londo that we know.
So I personally arranged for him to have a higher position as head researcher on Ragesh 3. Only one thing matters, Commander. Blood calls out for blood. If Khan is dead, there will be war. Today, tomorrow.
Blood calls out for blood until Emperor Turhan says, stop, right? But like, this is the central conflict for the Centauri of, you know, time. And it's in this episode we're going to get it, where Delenn is like, at what point is it enough? But this is a theme that just stretches throughout so much of the series. But
here's the thing. Blood calls out for blood. Yeah. Centauri took a lot of Narn blood. Narn went and got Centauri blood. Like, that's, again, and Delenn's point, which is so good. Where does it end?
When is it enough?
And I don't remember if Karn is dead or not, but there's still going to be war.
It's the last thing I do. If it's the
that's
last
what
Delenn
said actually here.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, Council Chambers Delenn.
Hey,
I swear to you, Commander.
Great minds, Delenn. Yeah.
I'm checking into it now.
Good. Keep me informed.
Bonham getting out there before Talia can get there.
I am really watching, you know, in one of our recent Council Chambers sessions, I think it was Becky was talking about, you know, a group of other podcasters who are LGBTQ+, and were watching a lot of Babylon 5 and other things, and said from go, they felt that sexual tension between Ivanova and Talia. So I'm kind of watching for it. And I didn't get it in that first scene, but right there that we just watched, the way Talia kind of was like, oh, I got, like, her body language there, I could totally read some tension.
I didn't read that at all, but okay.
I think I'm specifically watching for it now.
I was going to say, it could be you're reading into it because you want to see it, you know, but we'll see. What? I forgot about the head doing that thing.
Chocolate.
Oh, because he's like a little light thing.
Earlier, I wanted to make sure you knew about the emergency session.
Why? Because Ragesh 3 is too far, too small, too unimportant to risk a confrontation. And besides, by the time our ships got there... everyone would be dead anyways. So...
I love how touched he is by this. He loves his people.
Well, Londo always did. That's always who he is.
Yeah.
He's always Centauri first, you know, and he still thinks that his people should be the kings of the galaxy and all that sort of stuff.
I will confess that I look forward to the day when we have cleansed the universe of the Centauri and carved their bones into little flutes for Narn children.
God, I love that line.
Be careful.
I love that line.
Not every dream I've heard lately ends well for you. We've had plenty of experience with sneak attacks. Pearl Harbor, the terrorist nuking of San Diego, the destruction of our first Mars colony. It's a long and bloody history.
Oh, forgot that.
Do you know what we learned from it? That the sneak attack is the first resort of a coward.
Just a minute.
The nuclear bombing of San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, when we see San Diego all nuked out in that Bureau 13 episode.
Yeah.
Right?
And then that's the end of that
Decency
story.
to pick a military target, a poorly armed civilian colony.
I forgot how great, like, him and Jakar, like, they're just their whole, like, FU rivalry that builds up.
They want to fight it out, let them. Just keep us out of it at least till after the election. Earth has to take a neutral position.
But that will damage the Centauri case. If we pull out, others might do the same.
Not our problem. Those are your instructions. This discussion is concluded.
I really appreciate how, and we get some of this with Gideon and Lockley in Crusade, but the whole being on Babylon 5 exposes you to so much more of the galaxy and people and everything. And we're seeing that here with the senator who's sitting in Earth Dome, surrounded by people from Earth, who has this viewpoint, where Sinclair, even in this limited time, has more of a galactic view, and he understands that, yes, Earth this, and the galaxy that. Like, he can see the bigger picture.
I mean, I actually find this very true of a lot of things in real life. That there's the people with the boots on the field who are doing stuff, and then there's the broader context of everything. The medical community comes to mind immediately. You've got the doctors and the physician. You know, you got all those people making decisions with patients, but then you got the insurance company sitting over there in an office who's, you know, like, no, we need this, and oh, well, sorry. And there's other examples we could pull, but we don't need to.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
From what Garibaldi says, the Raiders are packing some pretty big guns, and
Commander?
that might
This
be
is the
it.
Sinclair
Tell
I
Garibaldi
love.
to stand down. I'm taking his place with Delta Flight.
Should I
Again,
put
seeing the
on
big
council
picture.
No. Look, if I'm at that meeting, I'll have to do something I don't want to do, so let it go on without me. The last thing you heard, we were voting for sanctions.
I like the chemistry between these two.
meeting? Yes, sir. Clear as crystal.
I was going to say, it's interesting. She has an established relationship with Sheridan when we meet Sheridan. Mm-hmm. She does not have the established relationship here. Okay, that was a much less impressive launch sequence than ones we get later. That was very slow.
I was going to say, Ivanova, in proximity to Sinclair, humanizes and softens Sinclair and allows him to step up and be a leader. And this whole thing to go and fly the mission is just showing his big-time how do I wiggle around the rules to find the way?
Where does it end? You kill them
There
and
it
take
is.
their land. They
Yep.
kill you and take the land back. On and on and on. A cycle of hatred.
Justice, not hatred. We have no desire to start a war.
Do you, though?
Remember way back when we thought like Delenn and the Minbari were just so wise and everything they said was just perfect example. Like everything she said, oh, look at that. This race has really got it together.
Delenn is still pretty good, though. I mean, Delenn has a wisdom beyond her years. Like, again, we're seeing Delenn. Honestly, you know what's really hard for me right now is not seeing Delenn who gets shunted off into the side chick thing that she kind of does at the end. Like, and letting her be her own character right now. But also remembering, like, we also know where she comes from with Ducat and how she comes onto the Great Council is the new person. And she comes over here. Maybe she's here because she is the new person. Nobody else wants this job, right? Like, that's why
shortest
she gets
straw.
on. But she has this innate wisdom because what she said there is gold. It's so good.
Yeah. I mean, we carried that line and talked about it till the end of the series. Yeah. Knowing what we know now, I don't care about this Raider storyline at all. Like, I get why it's here, and it makes sense for what sci-fi is and all that stuff, and it's real. Part of Babylon 5's Earth Force's role.
Well, but you and I know that this is the nothing burger on the show.
Peaceful
Like,
liberation
outside of
3. We did not fire first, and I can prove it.
That's not true.
We have chosen, of our own free will, to ally ourselves with the Narn government.
Don't blink if you're being held
We
hostage.
will, of course, maintain social and economic ties to Homeworld in the interest of continued peace. This is Karn Malari, Ragesh 3.
Stand by. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take your Babylon 5 for the first time experience to the next level? With our exclusive Patreon, you'll get access to all kinds of cool stuff that you can only find there. Our recording notes, unedited reaction videos, an exclusive Discord community. And you can even be listed as a producer of the show. Plus, we even offer exclusive meet and greets and hangouts. You won't find this kind of experience anywhere else. Get all these amazing benefits, plus the opportunity to interact with other fans from around the world. It's being part of a huge community where everyone shares the same appreciation for Babylon 5. Subscribe at patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's the number 5 and the word first to get access to these incredible benefits. That's patreon.com/Babylon5First. We can't wait to see you there.
So, you know what's interesting about that? We get a glimpse. Now, it's obviously a forced thing, but we get a glimpse of a colony choosing to break away from its homeworld.
Yeah.
And that this is a thing that happens in this universe, right?
That's a good one. Here, Suzanne has got a good piece just in the placing of everything. She says, look at Kosh watching Londo's reaction to all of this.
Everybody should be watching Londo's reaction always.
Yeah, always. Look at those capes.
I like the framing of this Londo Jakar beer.
Mm-hmm.
They forced him to read that statement.
I want to talk about that framing for just a quick second.
Yeah.
Emperor Malari, Emperor Virkado, Jakar is the bridge between the two.
He is. It's a good point.
So, like, literally in that little framing right there is the future of the Centauri Republic.
Well, I mean, even go back to the time when they're helping Jakar escape.
Mm-hmm.
And they're killing Cartagia. And I mean, that's the whole, you're not joking. Like this is what the show is really about. This is the story of Londo Mollari.
Yeah. And literally that framing is the story of Babylon 5. Like there it is.
Yeah.
This episode's it's freaking brilliant. Like
this is listen, I actually mentioned this in the chat. This is a great episode on a second watch.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In from the American, Russian, and Chinese states, incumbent President Luis Santiago leads Marie Crane by 12.
He looked like he had a chin to me. Is that the only time we've seen a picture of Santiago?
Water.
I think so. And what if I remember right, that's actually a picture of Doug Netter.
Oh, is it really? That's funny.
Go, man. I think I saw that on Lurker's Guide. Look at me quoting stuff from the Lurker's Guide.
Dude, she looks good for coming off shift.
Here we go.
All right, I'm watching for sexual tension right now.
I'm just rude.
I just wanted to know if it was me.
There it is. Uh-huh.
You're reading into it, dude.
Were you raised by the Corps? Mm-hmm.
The move that Talia pulled right there is the flirty, the whole like, uh-huh. Like I'm taking a drink and like that's a thing right there.
Yeah. I can see how this would lead to something, but I don't pick it up right here.
And I think where I pick up on some of it is Ivanova doesn't owe this lady anything, right? Like I avoided you and I'm going to continue avoiding you and I don't like your kind. So like end of story. But instead, I'm going to open up and be vulnerable, unprompted even. I want to connect.
I think that's just called being a mature adult. Like,
I don't know.
For what you are, they give you 3 choices.
Again, you're knowing where it goes, so you're reading it into here.
Or go to prison.
Also, we have to have this whole explanation of what psych horror's options
drugs
are.
that inhibit your telepathic abilities. They caught up with my mother on her 35th birthday. For 10 years, a man in a gray suit came to the door once a week, and he gave her the injections.
That makes a good point.
Terribly strong.
Is it Dark Talia's hidden
Every day we
programming
just watched her
siding up to who she thinks she can get close to?
And further away from us.
That I get into this right now.
The light in her eyes just went out bit by bit.
And you want me to find Planet X?
Dodgers.
Is that it?
Can you do it, Dodgers?
Oh,
this is my second favorite thing in the universe.
Because there's no one knows his way around outer space like...
This one like, oh, Garibaldi's not a dirtbag.
I do remember the forced fake laughing here. Like it's just too over the top, you know.
Over in the chat, the consensus is it's more Dark Talia influence.
Of the vote tallied,
I like that.
Incumbent President Luis Santiago the victor over challenger Marie Crane. Santiago's campaign was based on a promise.
Wow, did you see the sigh that he let out there? Like, oh crap.
His agenda for the coming term includes creating a closer relationship with the Mars colony and a greater emphasis on preserving Earth cultures in the face of growing non-Terran influences.
And
I still remember being like,
I remember you saying that and like, really, you think so? And you're like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, no. Commander, there's a problem. Commander?
Suzanne in the chat pointing out how much we hated that Duck Dodgers scene the first time around. And I don't think I hate it as much, but it's just knowing who Garibaldi and Delenn are, that's not them.
No.
Delenn,
and I think a big part of my hatred of it was the laughter seemed so forced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not it. Duck Dodgers is just not that funny. And even if it is, you're not laughing that hard at it.
No.
You're just not. So, although I could see Delenn's fake forced laughter just trying to match Garibaldi's.
Right.
Even though she doesn't get it. I've certainly been there before. I go, oh, yeah.
That's really great. Thanks for inviting me over. Ha, 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 ha.
Right.
All right, Brent. Well, we just watched Midnight on the Firing Line for the second time. I don't know if you landed where I did on this one, but what's your initial thought?
This is okay. Let me go back to my first thought on this episode. This is an episode that makes no sense right here in this order as the first episode out of the gate. This should have been like episode 15, 20, something of that nature. Like we need more to know what's going on here and to really feel what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
I stand by that original statement because, and I said this in the reaction, this is an entirely different episode watching it, knowing not just what's to come. So see, what do we get further as we get in? We understand exactly what Centauri did to the Narn, how utterly awful what the Centauri did to planet Narn and to the people of Narn was. We get it. So when Londo comes to confront G'Kar, and G'Kar is just like, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. And even Londo's like, blood calls for blood. And I called it out in the middle. I was like, yeah, but y'all went and started some shit first. You know, like that's on you, not us. So I stand by what I said. This was an episode to really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I mean, really appreciate it. You had to have a lot more information to do that. Now, that being said, I don't think this was a bad opening episode. This is not a bad out of the gate episode. You know? And I certainly see where this sets up. I mean, this episode sets up 5 years worth of storylines.
Exactly.
You know, the entirety of somebody in the chat, I think it was our friend Nia, said the entirety of Babylon 5 is moved through the Narn Centauri war, or the Narn Centauri conflict, which spans so much, right? Like all of this happens against that backdrop. So this sets up so much. Mm-hmm. And the journey that you and I went on the first time of discovering exactly why that was so bad was so good and was so valuable. But watching this now makes this episode feel different than it did the first time I saw it. And God, what a great episode. This was a great episode.
I'm so excited for Babylon 5 right now. Like,
yeah,
like I'm energized and I want so much more because of exactly that. You're right. Like, this was awesome. This is the perfect first, second watch episode, you know?
Yeah.
Cause we talked about it I forget if it was on this or our Stargate show, but we talked about the idea behind broadcasting, right? And in broadcasting, you say the thing that's going to happen, then you do the thing that's going to happen, then you talk about the thing that just happened. And there was some episode that did that really well and something we watched, but that's what this just did. In this episode, we know that Santiago is president and has according to Ivanov, a suspect vice president. We know that there's this 20-year thing. We know that Londo and G'Kar are at the center of it. We saw that framing of Londo to G'Kar to Veer. Yeah. We got the Psychor is, with Ivanova saying, Talia, you're just as much a victim being in Psychor as my mom was taking.
Oh my God, stop right there. Talia is as much a victim of the Psychor.
How amazing is that?
Oh my God.
And like, we won't fully grasp that until well into the fourth season. Like, we'll understand it, but not truly understand what it is to be stuck in Psychor. We'll get the Underground Railroad episode, going on in season 2, I think, or maybe season 3. Then we get all the stuff with Bester. And then in season 5, right, we get Cora's mother, Cora's father that drives it all home. But this is they just told us, here's what's going to happen. We're going to see it happen. And then we get to, it's the perfect first episode for this story.
I love it. My God, Talia is a victim because she is. It's not even Talia right now. It's just Dark Talia, right?
Yeah, and she's there under the surface
because it's not that Dark Talia is lurking in. Oh no, it is. This is Talia, but Dark Talia is like lurking and like does some stuff until she finally gets activated and flips. Or is this all Dark Talia?
No, she's like sleeper cell sort of a thing, just waiting to get activated.
Yeah, so she's not activated right now, but still back there somewhere. Yeah. I love the idea. Listen, we talked about this during the recording. Some people are talking about the sexual tension that exists even now between Talia and Ivanova. Jeff, you seem to be a little bit more on that side. I'm not on that side right now. I don't see the sexual tension outside of the idea that Dark Talia is making headway in, but I don't feel like Ivanova's picking up on it at all. Because Ivanova's so lost in her own stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tension from her. This is just, I don't like folk like you. But Talia, I could buy Talia maybe trying something here.
I think so. I think, and looking at, I think it was more Talia doing because it was her body language, her face, her little sippy and saying a thing. Whereas Ivanova, I think like I have a little bit of a different view of Ivanova that I don't think I had even in the first view. I remember coming out of this the first time, and even I have a note here that from go, Ivanova is amazing. Like just right away. And we came at it the first time being like, oh, she's awesome. I want more. I have 15 things going on, all of them annoying and all this awesome stuff. But what I saw in this one is a hurt, tortured soul who's dealing with her stuff.
Yes. Ivanova sitting there at that thing. I mean, she was just like, look, I wasn't really nice to you, and you really deserve to know why, and it's not your fault. And again, she's being a mature adult and owning her crap right now. Man, we don't see that very much. We don't see that very much in this.
No.
So really I do want to point this out. Our friend Suzanne over in the chat says, talking about how much we now love this show. She says, can you guys now use that great time machine and go back and tell yourselves this from 2 years ago? To which my answer is no, we can't. Absolutely because not. We needed to be there in order to get here. That was a part of that journey. Here's this journey. This is where we are. This is such a good episode. And I could see, Jeff, people who've watched the show so many times who watch these two noobs come in and be like, what's this all about? This should be like episode 15, blah, 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 blah. Are you kidding me? Do you know how awesome this episode is? No, I don't, because it's my first watch. Do I know now? Yes, I do, because it's my second watch.
It's, oh my God.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm gonna love this second time thing. I'm so excited for this.
Listen, already I can tell you what you and I have just discussed here is exactly why we wanted to do the second watch.
Yep.
Yeah. Because this is the stuff we didn't get the first time around at all.
So cool.
Well, Jeff, here's a question for you, though. We do the first time thing. What messages did we find? Any of those deep moral messages, those sci-fi messages, mirror to society, hope for a better future, how to be better human beings to one another? I'm going to take off the table what Dylan said of you, because we've already discussed that on the last watch. But was there anything new that you found, anything that just stood out to you in this particular episode?
There was, and we talked about it during the reaction, but it was that there are people out there making the big decisions that are completely disconnected from the people who are actually doing the work or who are actually in the place. And I think that was, it was illustrated really well with the senator being like, Earth, and Sinclair being like, bro, there's so much more going on here you don't see. We have to be able to step in and do these things.
Yeah.
And that's another theme that is talked about through the entire series. Did you catch any other things?
Not really. I mean, that was it is, this episode is, I think, on that level what we saw was, although I'm going to go back. I'm going to amend that. Yes, I did. And I talked about it. Ivanova being the big girl and putting on her big girl pants and saying, you know what? I wasn't a good person here.
And I'm going to own that.
And I'm going to own that. And I'm going to tell you why, so that you know, because I might still not be a great person around you because I still don't like y'all, but you should at least know why I'm going to be a bitch to you.
You know what? I loved that. I love that she told her, but I loved the thing where Tali's like, well, maybe we'll be better tomorrow. And Ivana was like, nope, probably not. Yeah. I loved it because that's real. It's not like, hey, this is what's going on with me and we're all cool now. It's good. It's like, no, I still got my stuff.
I'm still going to keep my distance from you. I'm not, listen, just so you know, this isn't a you, this is a me thing, but this is how it's going to be. And she's got time. She needs to work through her stuff, man.
Exactly. Well, we talked earlier about the games that we play on this, and this isn't so much a game, although I think we enjoy it as much as our game. This is a real fun part of what we do. We are, once again, we've already created the absolutely, objectively, definitively correct ranking of all of the episodes in season 1 of Babylon 5. That's already out there.
Yeah.
It's etched in stone. And we're going to do it again, watching the show a second time. And this list will also be objectively and definitively correct, completely unimpeachable in its accuracy. And this week, Brent, the honor falls to you. Where, sir, are you going to place Midnight on the Firing Line in the first season of Babylon 5?
Oh, gee. Where am I going to place this one? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and call this our number 1 episode of the season so far.
What?
Yeah, I mean, stop me if I do want to look at this. In our original ranking, by the time everything got to the end, Midnight on the Firing Line was number 16 on the season.
Really?
That's hard for me to believe.
Prediction, gonna be higher this time.
Probably.
But we'll see. Season 1, right, is much maligned out in the world, but I enjoyed season 1 the first time around. And I think what this is showing me now is I'm going to enjoy it even much more than I did the first time.
Yeah. I agree. And that is exactly what Babylon 5 for the second time is all about, and why you guys should join us for our rewatch of Babylon 5.
You should. And we're going to keep that going. We just wrapped up Midnight. We just wrapped up Midnight on the Firing Line. Next week, Brent, we're watching the second episode in the first season, Soul Hunter. What do you, Brent, remember about Soul Hunter?
I remember this being a really groaner episode a lot. I remember this being one that was full of stuff that you and I continually made fun of, even through the movies.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, before we went on mic, I was making fun of that episode. Even.
But I remember the big gun that he used to suck the soul out, which just looked so goofy. But I also remember this is where we really are introduced to that idea of the Minbari soul and the idea that something happens. And so certainly an important episode in building this world out. How about you, Jeff?
There's a hole in your mind, right?
Is that where we get this one from?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Just huge. And if I remember right, now, so I'm grasping it, so I could be wrong, but if I remember right, this was around the time where costuming wise and stuff, the Minbari were still supposed to be androgynous. And so like there's some weird Minbari makeup that we run into. Oh, and Nia correcting me. Thank you. Hole in Your Mind was The Gathering. I think I just want to forget The Gathering and take the good parts of it and put it in other episodes. Mm-hmm. But, and Ron back and Sarah. Sarah says it's also in Soul Hunter. So we'll find out next week where it is. But yeah, bro, I just remember this episode. I think between this and then when we got to Infection, I almost dropped out of Babylon 5. Like I did not like Soul Hunter at all.
Yeah, I think I just chalked it up to I've watched a lot of 90s sci-fi, and those first seasons can be really rough, and this is just one of those.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. It's weird. I hated that episode, and I'm excited to watch it next week after watching this one, and we're going to do that right here next week. Thank you all for joining us on this, The Maiden Voyage. Well, I guess we did do The Gathering as a second time, but this is our first, like, in place and thing, in our new formatting and things doing the second time. So thank you for being here with us. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're watching us, via your podcast, watch your videos, leave us a rating, a review. Please share this. We've asked you to share this podcast. We've done it for the better part of 2.5 years. Now is the time actually to do it. Like, it was cool to relive your first time experience with us, but this is going to be so much fun watching this for the second time with us. And I can't wait, Brent, until next time. I'm going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to hit the outro before Jeff. You can. Yeah, Brent, what's up? What's up?
I'm trying. It's hard to talk when you have stuff in your mouth that you're just not used to.
Brent, my eyebrows are covering my eyes. I can't even tell what's going on.
I have no outro. This is all I could think to do.
When does Veer lose those teeth? Because he does not talk like that for the rest of the show.
I hope it is very quick, and I hope those teeth get the hell out of this galaxy.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy.
We're sticking with that ending.